Wow, like what an intro. To do a show after that intro.
It's tough.
Like it is electric. Shout out to Easy Eve for
E-Train
cutting up that intro. So
incredible.
Here we are, episode 1 of WESPN Windsor Essex Scott Paul News, the real estate network. Guys, why are we doing this? We get questions all the time about the local market. None more than now. I think everybody has an interest on the market locally, and we just want to come and bring you a weekly report on what's going on with AW for you, of course, and what's going on with our local market. I think today our main topics we're going to touch on is probably the influx of Toronto agents and buyers coming into the market, which definitely needs to be talked about. And we're going to touch on an area, South Walkerville, which is showing some huge numbers right now that needs to be talked about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we all have a 30,000 foot view of what's happening. We all know that Toronto buyers are here, but we want to give people a boots on the ground perspective. We're out there every day. We're seeing it live. We're bidding against these people. You're at the offer table for some of your listings, and the Toronto agents are there as well.
Last night, Toronto agent won. Yep.
Yeah. So we want to give you that boots on the ground perspective instead of that 30,000 foot view. Let's start with this. Is it real? Is the Toronto buyer real? Is it as bad as everybody's saying, or is it all rumor and hype?
So before it was, everybody thinks, oh, you got to market to the Toronto buyers. They think they're coming in with like a hydroplane and they're like walking on water with gold bars and buying this stuff cash. The Toronto buyer before was the people that are coming down here to retire that sell for 1.5, 2 million in Toronto. They'll come down to Kingsville, they'll buy something on the water, Colchester, whatever, and life is fantastic. The Toronto buyer that we're dealing with now is a result of the work from home. It's, as Chris said, it's drive till you qualify, right? They're coming down the 401 and they are just offering on properties right now where they're the winners because they're winning by tens of thousands of dollars, and it's hard to compete with in some circumstances. So it's the work from home thing right now. I've never seen it this intense with the Toronto.
Yeah, one of the questions I think everybody has a misconception that everybody all these Toronto buyers are investors just snapping up properties for their own investment purposes. But I think that is part of it. Don't get me wrong, that's actually a big part of it. Yep. But a lot of people are actually moving here to live. We're getting calls every week. I'm talking to agents, I'm talking to buyers that are exactly what you're saying. They're working from home, or they're coming to work in Detroit and live in Windsor, or they're truck drivers living in Brampton and they don't need to live there anymore. They can come and buy something for 50% cheaper in Windsor. So these trends are real. They are really affecting the market. It's not just investors is my point. Now, here's a question. How do you operate in this? If you're a buyer or seller, what are some tips that you can take away to navigate this market?
So I'm on the listing end a lot, and what I'm seeing right now is I'm having conversations with, for whatever reasons, the properties I listed last week, I'm fielding 5 to 10 calls a day from these Toronto agents. And some of the conversations that I'm having are very interesting, where they're just telling me straight up, like, we don't know what this thing's worth. We don't even know what the numbers are. We don't have access to your board to be able to price it out. So they expect us to do their job for them. But most times they'll just start writing offers based on how much they lost the last offer for, which is totally incorrect. It's screwing up our market. It's a huge concern for the local buyer. And quite frankly, I think it's a huge concern for our real estate board. And
also, how about their buyers? How about their clients?
And they're doing their clients a disservice. 100% disservice. I would agree with that. And that's the biggest concern for me, is you're doing the buyer, the end user, the person that you're working for, a disservice. I would never go to Toronto and service a buyer there, because it's not my market. I don't know it. I won't even go to Tilbury, to be honest. Well, maybe I'll go to Tilbury. But I don't know. But Chatham, I listed a house in Chatham this year, and a beautiful house. And I brought in help because it's not my market, right? I co-listed it with a local agent, and what I'm seeing with these Toronto agents coming down is a massive disservice to the client. So
I agree. And on the buyer side, like I just posted today, if you're out there trying to buy right now, a first-time home buyer, or just, even if you sold your house, you got to stick with it. Try not to get frustrated. A lot of people are getting frustrated and just saying screw it. I don't think that's the right mentality. people are getting mad at the Toronto buyer as well. I find they're pissed off that these people are here. Guys, it's a free country, you know, and if somebody wants to move to Windsor, or maybe they're returning to Windsor, they moved to Toronto 10 years ago, they want to come, like, not, you know, don't villainize the Toronto buyer. Stick with it. Try not to get frustrated. If you're working with a good agent, you're going to get a good deal eventually. It's just a matter of trying to keep your spirits up and grinding it out.
If you lose, if you rate your best offer and you lose it by $50,000, like you just can't do anything. Always come in with your best based on the knowledge and the education that your realtors provided you. And if you lose that offer, it's not meant to be.
You just got to
keep going and
For sure.
and keep going, because we are having some success stories out there. Specifically, AW for you. I mean, we firmed 6 buyers this week. So and again, these are not first homes that they've seen, and we wrote our first offer. So these are multiple offers written. This is a patience game, but we stick with it. We're on your side.
We stick with our numbers as well. We don't overpay for things, and eventually we get a deal, right? One's going to sneak through the cracks, or that Toronto buyer's not going to be there for that one. So we are still finding ways to get it done. And get good value in this market, despite the troubles and the tribulations.
And we lost a lot of offers this week too, right?
Dozens.
So on the listing side, we had great success on Lillian, a condo on Ontario, a 2-story in Tecumseh, a St. Anne Ranch in Tecumseh. Currently, we have listed a property on Willow, and then now we're listing a property on Hall today, which has a mother-in-law suite option there. Meadowbrook townhome we have coming up, an Olive's purpose-built 6-plex we have coming up, a duplex on Joe St. Louis, and one of the nicest buy levels, the nicest buy level I've ever seen in my whole life, coming up on Kingston. So, switching gears here, I want to focus on South Walkerville and what's going on there. So South Walkerville is an area that's near and dear to my heart. And it's where I bought my first house. It's where, I had my first child. Oh my God, I'm crying.
Me too.
I promised Mess I wouldn't cry. The numbers in South Walkerville right now are absolutely mind-blowing, staggering. We can't really talk about specific properties and what they sold for, but the numbers, there was a record set in South Walkerville 2 weeks ago. And that record was broken again the other day.
Put it this way, I bought something with my clients in South Walkerville 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
3 weeks later.
What a deal.
It looks like one sold very similar property for $140,000 more than we purchased ours for. That's a $140,000 jump in a month. Like that's pretty
if you're watching this and you own a property in South Walkerville, feel free to reach out. We'd be more than happy to price that out for you and show you what's going on in the neighborhood, because it's a neighborhood I know like the back of my hand, and boy, the numbers that I'm seeing are
staggering.
Pretty. They're mind blowing. It's out of control. So again, the Toronto buyer, the Toronto agent, has never been more real than it is now. The South Walkerville numbers are absolutely massive.
But we're still finding ways to get it done and serve our clients.
Getting it done. Yeah, we know to trust the process, and you have to explain that to your clients as well. And
how about a shout out to Mr. Made or Mr.
Yeah,
Style?
guys. Hey, Mr. Style in the house. So every Friday we're gonna have a sponsor. The sponsorship is minimal. It's $10,000 an episode, and 2 coffee cups. So good value there. We'll make a post too, and no. All jokes aside, you want to sponsor our show on a Friday? 2 coffee cups. That's all it costs. Have fun with the cups. We'll give you a shout out. Speaking of Mr. Style, we're staging probably 80-90% of the homes that we're listing. If you're bringing your house to market, I'm going to sit down with you, and I'm going to explain to you the benefits of staging. Staging has pretty much become a standard of ours when we're listing a property. So if you want to sit down and talk about that as well, as always,
it's a great investment.
It is, honestly, and it's for you, not for us. So let me talk about staging real quick. Staging is not for the showing. Staging is for when we bring Easy E in to market the property. It just shows so much better online. The first showing for every buyer is online, okay? I know if I get a showing request to my phone that they've already dissected it online and they have some interest and now they want to come and see the property. The staging helps with the showing as well, but the staging is mainly for our marketing so we can control what we can control and present the best product to market that we can. We can't control the market, okay? But we can control how we present our product to market, and that's what we're all about here at AW for you, the Real Estate Group.
Awesome.
So,
now, I think we were supposed to play for a coffee.
We were supposed to play for a coffee.
What do you want to do? Some hoops, a little putt-putt? What do you want?
First off, we got to give Air Max a shout out. It is Air Max Day, so that's why that's there. So if you're roaming around the streets today, hopefully you got your Air Maxes on. It's a little rainy out there, so got to keep it light, tiptoe light out there. She's rainy. We are going to play for a coffee. We're going to wrap this up. Best of 3 putts. I guarantee you I'll win. And I prefer Tim Hortons, and I know Scott, of course, loves
Starbucks. It's big coffees on the line here.
big time. Guys, thanks for joining the first episode. Thank you to Mr. Style for the mugs. If you want to sponsor our show, give me a holler. We would love to have you. I know there's some people out there that would be all over this. Again, the cost is 2 mugs, and we'll talk about you in our relationship and all that stuff. Okay?
Signing off.
Thanks.